Hello, Shelley Ramus, Volunteer Specialist with the Iowa 4-H Youth Development Program. Today we're looking specifically at resources that help support you as you work to support both the new volunteers and our ongoing and direct volunteers in their new volunteer training and annual leader training. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to highlight supports and resources that aid you and your volunteers in the training process. We're going to look at both new volunteer training and ongoing annual leader training resources. So first, I will start at the Volunteer Management webpage, which is what you see here. On the Volunteer Management webpage, which is specifically for staff use, we have all of the annual leader training resources, supports, and facilitator materials. Your youth program specialists deliver these trainings, and all the materials supporting the trainings for both annual leader training and also, as we go down, for new volunteer training are located here on the Volunteer Management webpage. As a county staff, you'll want to assure that each new volunteer receives the notebook for club or project volunteers or the notebook for a Clover Kid volunteer, depending on which position they are. You can find all of the materials for the notebook located on the Volunteer Management webpage. So here under New Volunteer Notebook, you'll find the index, then the information that you can print to create that binder for either the club volunteer or the Clover Kid volunteer, as well as the 4-H equation. Also, under New Volunteer Online Training, there's two resources to point out. There's the help sheet for volunteers to access the online training via 4-H Online, which you see here. Please make sure to email this help sheet to your new volunteers and/or give them a hard copy of this help sheet. This will assist them as they are going into 4-H Online and finding those new volunteer online training modules that are required to be completed along with their 3-hour face-to-face training. So this walks them through that process. The other resource that you'll find here is the staff email template to volunteers for new volunteer training. You can utilize this template to go ahead and send information out to your new volunteers regarding the volunteer process as a new volunteer that includes information on the online modules as well as their face-to-face training. Another important resource that we want to point out is the staff help sheet to enter new volunteer training into 4-H Online. I'm going to go ahead and open that now. The process for entering face-to-face training into 4-H Online is similar for both the new volunteer training and the annual leader training. This help sheet provides step-by-step instruction for you as a county staff as you are entering the face-to-face volunteer attendance into 4-H Online. The main difference between entering the face-to-face new volunteer training versus the annual training is once you click Add to Training and you flag that option, you get to choose the training that you're going to add the volunteer to. So you can choose the new volunteer face-to-face training, or if it's the annual training, you're going to choose from the drop-down menu this year's annual training, 4-H Builds Resilience. And you're going to click Add Members to Training. We strongly encourage you to enter all face-to-face volunteer trainings into 4-H Online as soon as possible following each training. Having volunteer training records up to date is very important, as our policy states that each new volunteer will complete new volunteer training and all of our ongoing direct volunteers will also complete that annual leader training. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and go to the Volunteer Resources page. Be sure to point out to your volunteers that they have information that helps support them in both new volunteer training and the annual leader training under Volunteer Resources. So there's additional supporting documents for new volunteer training that they can print off and utilize that will help support them as club leaders. There's also additional supports and information that will support the volunteer following the annual leader training as they bring this information and implement it back into their club. The other piece that your volunteer can also access online is that help sheet to access new volunteer training via 4-H Online. That's all for today. Please feel free to reach out to myself or to Tilly if you have questions regarding volunteer training and the resources and supports that you and the volunteers have access to. Also, if you have any questions as you begin to enter face-to-face trainings into 4-H Online, please reach out to us and we can assist you in that process. Thank you and have a great day.